Ken Jones.
Ken Jones, our producer, yeah. We weren't even there, I'm afraid. So we came back to find that had been added.
He would never let us stay for mixes. Really old school, autocratic producer.
I think did we record that twice? I was looking up. I think some notes in the back of our box set, and I think we might have recorded that song twice.
Really?
And I'm just wondering if the first time did we maybe do it with somebody playing?
My memory, and it could well be wrong, is that we only recorded it once, but we tried to do it with a backing, and it sounded very, very ordinary to us. So I can't remember whether it was Ken or us that suggested we do the majority of it a cappella, without anything, and then I just came in at the very end.
The challenge with that is that you've got to stay absolutely in tune, and it's very tempting to you start off la 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 la, and it's tempting to just drop or go up or whatever. And of course Rod's going to come in when he plays. He's going to be in perfect pitch. When we used to do that, we would do it. I would sing on my own, and then Rod would join us. And we were playing these huge arena events in the Philippines. We were playing to 30,000 people a night. On one night, I didn't do it every night. It just happened once. I slipped a bit, and I was totally unprepared for it. When they came in, they were in a different key, and so I had to sort of go and sort of join them. So now we've taken a little bit of the terror out of it.
And we do a different version now, don't we? With piano and voice.
We do. Rod plays piano.
And I prefer the chords I play now.
Yeah.
So we were more what I was hearing in my head the first time, but I didn't quite know how to realise them.
This has been on her mind for 46 years.
I'm so sorry to give her such pain and grief, because the answer is I don't know. I mean, I just spun
46 years.
I just spun the story around the idea really, and it just sort of developed itself.
I think it's something really terrible.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
I always think, we tried a couple of other names. So we're going back to 1961, and we tried a couple of other names. We were first for about a week, the Mustangs.
Along with about 100 other bands that week.
So that kind of put us off that. And then we took the name of a film called The Sundowners, which was Robert Mitchum and Deborah Carr, I think.
Following the Searchers or something like that, how the Searchers got their name, for John Wayne and the Searchers.
Yeah. So we tried that for a couple of weeks. And then it didn't really sort of take. And our original bass player, who actually left the band before we started recording, was called Paul Arnold. He went to school with me, and he was my introduction to the band, because the others all went to another school. And he came up with the idea of the Zombies, which was very unusual at that time. There were no zombie films, there was no zombie culture. And to be honest, I don't think I was even quite sure what a zombie was. But it stuck.
Do you know now?
Just about, yeah. There's 5 musicians. 4 musicians and a singer.
3 musicians, a drummer and a singer.
And it just stuck, and so there we are. It's quite snappy, isn't it? And people remember it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think in the end, things that have a lasting impression are always original and always and don't necessarily have the easiest way in. I mean, if you even think about the Beatles, they had a terrible time getting a record deal right at the beginning. And George Martin, first of all, when he was sort of convinced to some extent, wanted them to do How Do You Do It? They didn't want them to do one of their own songs. I think that's always a good sign. And I always think that in the short term, it's maybe been hard for us, because the biggest hits we've had or the biggest successes in whatever way have been things which no one would play at first, and people said, no, that's not a hit. I mean, CBS didn't believe that Time of the Season should come out. It was about the 4th single in America, Last Gasp, and that sold millions of records around the world. But because it's not just like something else that's going on, and none of the stuff that we've done has been like that really, we've always had trouble getting started. But I think if you've got some real originality, that in the end it stands you in really good stead, and it becomes the most commercial thing in the long term because it's something of your own, and then other people try and copy something about that. You know.